Greg Secker is probably the most famous Forex trader in the world today. His organization owns trading floors in London, Sydney, South Africa, and the US. He has taught literally thousands of people around the world how to become permanently financially independent. He has taken the most powerful trading strategies from the world of professional trading and simplified them so anyone can use them. To give you a flavor of what you're in for, please watch the video screen.
Get ready, because what you are about to learn may just change your life. Over 100,000 people from over 80 countries have learned from this man how to change their lives forever. He's the founder of the multi-award-winning Knowledge to Action Group, which owns trading floors and trading centers across the globe. Greg is an internationally acclaimed wealth creation expert who has spoken at some of the most exclusive venues in the world, sharing the stage with such gurus as Tony Robbins, Sir Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, T. Harv Eker, and the famous Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort.
I've traveled the world and I've scoured the earth, and Greg truly is a world-class trader.
Author of numerous books on trading, including the highly successful Financial Freedom Through Forex, Greg is a master of the art of trading, but more importantly, he knows how to coach people to succeed. He's taught people all over the world how they can use the same powerful trading strategies that his full-time professional traders use to great success.
I got about 90 pips out of one currency within about a week of actually doing the course.
After a few coaching sessions, I'm already placing trades.
It is easy to do, and when I say that most sincerely.
My ultimate goal is to have financial freedom.
I am fed up of working in the office.
I actually quit my job in July and took this on full-time.
It's not as complicated as it looks.
People always ask me, can I do this? And the answer is, yes you can. Anybody can do this. It's easy, and most importantly, it works. If you know two things, what to do and when to do it.
Greg is also the driving force behind the Knowledge to Action Foundation, which supports children's charities such as Bernardo's and South Africa's Ubuntu Education Fund. The foundation runs exciting fundraising projects such as the Flying Trader, which allows traders new and experienced to follow Greg's expert trading from a helicopter high over London. There is no one better equipped to show you how to create wealth and financial freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Greg Secker.
And give a huge welcome to the stage, my good friend, Mr. Greg Secker!
Thank you, brother. All right, thanks. Whew. Good afternoon, Melbourne. How's everybody doing? Are you good? Are we here to learn how to make some money, yes or no? Okay, good. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what I do. I'm regarded as one of the top Forex traders in the world now. I run trading floors pretty much all over the world, from Sydney, Australia, here to London, to Johannesburg in South Africa, and also over in the US. What I do is I teach people, pretty much like yourselves, how to make an immediate income trading the currency markets. And the way I do that, pretty much, is I have you sit with me or one of my team, and we trade live with you. And in doing that, we find it easy to show people just like yourselves how to take some simple stuff from some of the most successful trading floors around the world, implement it, and get some great results from it. Now, before I get going with how to do all of that, by the way, does everybody here have notes and a pen and a pad and are ready to take some notes on how to do this? Yes or no? Great. Okay, well, I might, if I can, I'll just indulge me. I'll tell you how I got started in all this, because it's kind of an interesting story. I wasn't a trader when I set out. I started as an IT guy on the trading floor. It was my first job straight out of university, and I sat on a trading floor. I was the guy that when any trading station blew up or went down, I was the one that had something thrown at them, and I had to go fix it. And living in that environment was pretty hectic. There was 42 traders on the floor. They were average age of about 26 years old. They were earning huge money. I was earning about £15,000 a year, which I thought was good at the time. They were earning £15,000 probably every 3 or 4 days. And of course, if their computer blew up while they were in a big trade, obviously I was the one who got it in the neck. So quickly I learned how to support those guys, and I got friendly with them. Well, fast forward a few weeks later, I got very friendly with the head trader on the floor, and I just wanted to know how the hell they were doing what they were doing to make the money they were making, and they were making a lot of money. I knew nothing about foreign exchange trading before, so it's completely brand new to me. Now, I mucked around a bit. I got friendly with one of the traders. Well, before too long, I left the IT world, realized that wasn't for me, got into trading, had this whirlwind career of trading across 7 trading floors around the world, made currency my master, did it pretty much every waking hour, made a lot of money doing it. And at 27 years old, I decided that I didn't really need to work for an institution anymore. I could go home and I could trade from home. So I set up a trading center, or a trading system, if you like, in my lounge, in my front room, and I pretty much traded the European session from about 5:45 in the morning London time to about 11:30, and I made all my money doing just that. And 2 interesting things happened to me at the time. The first thing was I made a lot of money, and the second thing is I got pretty fat. And when I say pretty fat, I was referred to by my friends at the time as the trading bullfrog. I literally was the fattest lad you've ever seen behind a bunch of computer screens trading the currency markets, and that was me. And it's funny, every time I hear myself say that, I feel myself suck my stomach in at the same time. And that's just how it was. And it's a lonely existence. And then the thing you used to do in those days was, as soon as you finished trading, get towards lunchtime, you'd go down to the pub, start drinking a couple of beers, and just hang out with whoever was down there. And what would happen is I'd meet people, and they'd say, "What have you been doing for the day?" And I said, "Well, I've been trading the currency markets, making money." I said, "What have you been doing?" I'd see a guy stand there covered in paint. He said, "Well, I've been painting your neighbor's kitchen." You know, and he'd say, "How much money did you make today?" And I said, "I don't know, £35,000. And he'd sit there and go, "Fuck off." I'd be like, no, really? Oh, let me just say, if I use the odd blue word, is that okay with you? Yes or no? I'm in Australia, right? You guys are more easygoing. Gee, I've got to tell you, one of the first times I spoke in a big audience like this, it was with Tony Robbins in Singapore, right? Anybody here seen Tony Robbins? Okay, so with Tony Robbins, anyone here been to Singapore? Quick show of hands on Singapore. You know what Singapore's like? It's clean. Singapore is like Legoland. Isn't Singapore like Legoland? Like, it's very clean. You're not allowed to drop chewing gum, otherwise they cut your weenie off. I mean, that's a pretty hectic place. I'm going on stage. Tony Robbins is walking off stage, just like this back here. This big old Tony lumbering off the stage, go for it, man. And there's this lady standing there with a clipboard, and she says to me, "Listen, you're talking for 90 minutes. I went, She went, "No swear words, no profanity, don't say anything out of the ordinary." I was like, I come from a trading floor environment. I'm like, there's going to be a few shits and fucks flying at me. I'm like, "Are you sure?" She goes, "Absolutely nowhere. It's completely anti-Singaporean culture." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I get on stage, and I find myself in this box because I just can't say what I want to say. So I just say to the audience, I said, "Listen, I just got to be me here, and I want to be unleashed, and I want to give you 100%, just like I do want to today." But I said, sometimes that comes with the odd profanity, and I don't mean it to upset anyone or to be offensive or abusive. It's just who I am. So with permission, can I just be who I am? And of course, this whole Singapore audience in Tony Robbins goes, "Yeah!" And I go, "Thank fuck for that." And of course, the whole audience laughs at him. So I'm in the right place here today, huh, folks? Yes or no? So anyway, to quickly fast forward. So there I am, trading away, and I noticed that I'd bring people back to my house. I'd sit there in front of the trading screen, and they'd watch me trading live, and literally people used to have this experience where they'd just look at the screen, and they would just go, "Fuck." Like, because they'd watch me make £2,000 or £3,000, maybe in 10 or 20 minutes, and they'd never seen that happen before. And of course, what would happen immediately after that is they'd scuttle off down to PC World in London, they'd buy a laptop, and within a few hours, they'd be sat next to me installing trading software. You know, I'm talking about a guy in overalls with a T-shirt on with paint on. He'd just been, decorating. He's there installing software and sitting there learning what I'm doing because he's got inspired by it. Well, I found out a few short years later after I then set up, fast forward 6 weeks later, I've got 19 people camped out on my lounge room floor, trading the market, smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, banging around on laptops. I thought it was brilliant. My girlfriend thought it was freaking horrific. The house smelt like a boys' dormitory. I mean, it was just disgusting. One day we came back from a nightclub at 4:30 in the morning, and there's two guys standing at my front door going, "Are you ready to get started?" My girlfriend goes, "That's it." And so, of course, we moved the trading floor out of the house, and we set up the first real trading floor, and it started like that. Unbeknownst to me, I kind of enjoyed the process, not just of carrying on the trading, but teaching people how to do it. I quite enjoyed the kind of camaraderie that created. And before long, we had a trading floor with 18 traders on it, and the kind of world's history after that. But one of the things I noticed is that I was invited to go and speak to a bunch of people who were learning to trade and been to a trading seminar. Anybody here been to maybe a seminar kind of like that before? Quick show of hands on that. That's pretty much the whole room. Well, I did, and I noticed those guys weren't making, they hadn't been trading very much. I met a group of 38 people that used to meet up every Wednesday night, used to drink wine and talk about the stock market. That's a pretty freaking dry subject to talk about on a Wednesday night, drinking wine. So I was invited along, and I met them, and they were excited to meet me because I was the trader guy that they'd never met. And I said, "How's your trading going?" And everybody kind of looked down at their glass of wine and didn't really say very much. They said, "Well, you guys making money?" And they looked down and I said, "Well, how much money did you spend on your training, your education, this seminar? How much did it cost you?" £10,000. I'm like, shit, £10,000, which at the time would have been like 20,000 Australian dollars. So I'm like, wow, that's a significant investment. And they were like, yeah. I said, well, so what's happened? How many of you got trading accounts open with money and they're doing stuff? And they're like, again, they're looking down. One guy puts his hand out, "I got a trading account." I went, "Great, how long have you had it open?" He goes, "Oh, I've had it for about 10 years. Oh, okay, so he didn't really count. And so then I said, "Well, when did you go on your trading seminar?" Thinking that he'd been on it the weekend before, because they'd been on it 6 weeks ago. I'm like, so hold on a second, 6 weeks ago, what's the hold up? And then it hit me. I thought, how come I've got 19 people, which were on my lounge room floor, trading away making up to £2,000-3,000 a day, some of them smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, banging away. How come I've got those guys doing it, but all of these guys aren't doing it? And then it really hit me, and it is, of course, the simple question I then asked, which was, how many of you actually watched the guy who trained you actually trade? Did you see it? And of course, what do you think they said? Yes or no? No, they hadn't seen it. So I realized very quickly that belief is an important thing. We believe things that we see, that we have a visceral experience with. We need to see it. I realized every single person I sat with me, even if we had a pint of lager in our hands, they saw the process. They saw £3,000 in real money happen in front of them. And of course, it got them inspired to want to do something about it. So I think, with that said, I want to get you guys to, how many people in this room, let's say, how many people in this room think you could become a millionaire trading the currency markets? If it took you like a couple of hours a day, by show of hands, how many people think? Everybody up, show of hands. How many people here don't do it, have never traded the currency markets? Okay, that's most of you. And the thing I learned very quickly on is the difference between thinking we can do something and believing we can do something. And they are two very different things, and often we get confused that they're the same, and they're not. Because belief tends to follow, action tends to follow what the initial belief was. And what I learned very quickly, if I could just write this up here for you guys, is that there's a guy in the States called Bob Dilts, and he said, look, belief, Bob Dilts was an American psychologist way back in the mid-70s, and he said, look, things start with belief, and then the next thing that follows is action, and the thing that follows after that is resources leveraged. Resources leveraged, and then we run into results, and that feeds back into belief. And he said, look, if somebody is not doing the thing they really want to be doing and not getting results from it, it's because they have what's called a negative belief. They don't really believe it. So the action they take is a lot or a little. Hello? Hello? A little or a lot? A little. So the action's a little. The resources leverage, you want to write this down, is your time and your money. How much time and money you devote to something. These are often very important resources that we assign to something that we give great credence to. And if the resources leverage your time and your money is a little, then of course the results themselves are going to be small. And then importantly, and this is the important thing, this belief that feeds back, or the result that feeds back into the initial belief, and it always tends to support it. Always tends to support it. So if they didn't really think much was going to happen, they didn't do very much, they didn't use much of their time and their money, the results weren't great, and of course the initial belief is supported, so the spiral continues to be negative. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes or no? Conversely, we find that if the belief is strong and positive, I was an IT guy walking onto a trading floor with 38 traders, half of them are women, half of them are men, all of them punching away on the currency markets, making some of them in excess of £150,000 every couple of weeks. My belief was it built strong that there could be money made in the money markets, yes or no? Absolutely. And I didn't have any experience prior, but that didn't stop me getting hold of a laptop, installing some software, putting a little bit of money into it, and cracking on with it and getting some results. As soon as I did that, did it support the original belief? The answer to that question is, of course it did. So, I believe if you're going to go somewhere, you need to figure out where you currently are. And if anyone in this room says, do you know what? If I could give 3 or 4, 5, maybe 10 hours a week to something, and it could bring me in excess of $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a month, would it be worth it? Yes or no? I think the answer to most people to that question is yes. And obviously, years after that, that can grow exponentially. But if giving it a bit of time can add $10,000 or $20,000 to your back pocket every week or 2 weeks, it's worth doing. The question then becomes is, well, I'm not doing it, so how do I get to doing it? And a portion of it is the mechanics, what needs to be doing. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. But before you can get to the mechanics, the actual physicality of doing it, because I promise you, that part is simple. The mindset of getting yourself to actually do it and make it an important thing to do comes, in my opinion, from the belief. Does that make sense? And so why I say that is because I believe that every single person I've ever trained who's gone on to become a very successful individual at this and make a whole bagload of money has done it because they watched someone, either me or one of the traders on my trading floor, trade live and see what's possible. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes or no? So let's start the session off the right way. I'd like to show you a live trade, if that's okay, so you can see how much is possible and what kind of, I'm going to talk through it, I'm going to kind of annotate it, and to really get into the guts of this straight off the bat so you guys get a good sense of what this game is all about. Does that make sense for everybody, yes or no? Would that be good? Excellent. Yeah, I just want to jump straight into content, if that's okay. Now, for some of you, it's going to be a little technical, but don't let that put you off. I will explain as much as I can. Let me tell you something. This is easy. And some people tell you trading isn't easy. Trading is a nightmare if you don't know what to do. Trading is easy if you know what to do and when to do it. And that's how the best traders in the world operate. I learned very quickly that good traders, the ones that make all the money, don't sit there in front of trading screens, scratching their head, asking questions like, is the market at support or resistance? Well, what should we do? I think the Fed is speaking. They don't do all of that. The best traders in the world who make the best money know exactly what to do and when to do it based on certain signals. And they only do 2 or 3 things a day, and that's where all the money comes from. So I'm going to play a video, but before I do that, I need to find the clicker. Here it is. I'm going to play a video which illustrates how I made £19,000 in 4 minutes. Would that be worth watching, yes or no? So we're going to jump to that video now, and I'm going to pause throughout parts of the video so you guys get a real sense of how I did it and what the game is really all about. So, okay, let's jump to the video now. Okay, first of all, this video I'm going to teach you is called a pivot trade.
Okay, so we're looking at a pivot breakout now on British pound against the US dollar. Notice how the British pound against the US dollar has ranged throughout this, what we call R.5 to R1. And as British pound now breaks through here, as it's now doing, we're going to take a long position, which means we're going to buy British pound, and we're going to look to run up here. And that
okay, pause there. Excellent. Oh, these AV guys here are good. Okay. It's great having a good AV team. Now, what you're seeing there is a chart of the British pound against the US dollar. Everybody clear about that, yes or no? Yeah? So, and this is one of the most widely traded currency pairs. And what you're seeing is, if you notice, you'll see a blue line, and you'll see all this like red, you see the little red and green bars going up, and that's just the price on the day. Each one of those bars is about 5 minutes in length, and it's moving up and down. Now, you'll see, as the price is kind of ranged in that, between those 2 red lines, those 2 red horizontal lines. Those red lines are called pivots. What are they called? Pivots. And they are used by floor traders and prop traders, and the most prolific traders on the planet use those lines because those lines tell us where the market is likely to find a ceiling and where the market's likely to find a floor. So they're quite useful, because if the market penetrates, goes through those lines, and then confirms that it's gone through, it's likely to run at least another 20 points upwards. Please write that down. So when markets go through a pivot line, they make about another 20 points. Now you might think, well, what is important about 20 points? Well, if I said to you, look, for every point you made $1,000, would that be useful to have $20,000 in a short space of time? Yes or no? Would it be useful to have $200 in a short space of time? The answer is still yes. So regardless of where you start, having 20 points is still 20 points. The size of the 20 points is obviously defined by the trading account that you might have. Okay, so we're now going to see what happens as the market penetrates through that line, and you're going to see me put the trade on the trading account. Now I will trade this at £1,000 a point. So we can continue playing the video now, see what happens.
The R2, we're just really going to look to take 20 points. We're going to have a 20-point stop, and we're going to have a 20-point target. So simple 20-pointer. Let's go place that trade. Okay, so it looks like we have cable at about 61.68. We're going to go 1,000 a point. We have a 20-point stop. That's 20,000, and yeah, we'll happily buy that. Good, and we can see here that's good. So 1,000 a point. Average price, our current price here is 161.89. We can see we're up 1,000. And the trade is moving. Now, we're happy to take that the 20-point stop. That's about 20,000 risk on a 2 million account. That's 1%, so we're happy with that. We are in the trade. We'll now wait for the position to see if we have some movement. And if we have movement, you'll see it move quite rapidly. So we have a couple of points. We have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000.
There. Oh, gosh, you guys are good. I got to tell you, this is like the best AV team I've ever worked with. Give the AV team a little round of applause for being just so good. They are very good. Okay, now, important learning coming up, so get ready with your notes. Here it comes. Here's your first real good nugget of really cool information. Foreign exchange trading is where all the money is made by the big fish in the world. Please understand that. So we're talking today about trading the currency markets. I've been trading the currency markets for 15 years now, and I've got to tell you, this is where the big cash is made. And there's a bunch of reasons for that, which I'm going to explain as we get on in our little session here. But what I want you to know is the dynamic of trading foreign exchange is different from trading the share market or the stock market. How many people here have traded the stock market before? Quick show of hands. Hello? Put them up there. Let me see who you are. Okay, so there's a good smattering. And you guys are kind of centrally incentivized in this country to trade the share market, or at least have a discretionary interest in the share market, different from other places in the world. The currency markets, the foreign exchange markets, is the trading of one currency, obviously, against the other. And there's an interesting dynamic that takes place. Just watch this on the board. If we could jump, actually, to the video camera so you can see me, and then we'll go back to the other video, if that's not too hectic. Yeah, brilliant. So what I've done here, what I want you to notice is we saw these little bars do this, and I said, okay, if that's not too confusing, I said I was going to buy it. Does everybody remember that? Yes. And I wanted it to run 20 points. Do you guys remember that, folks? Yes or no? And it's 1,000 points. I want to try and make a quick 20 grand. Now, I know, as a currency trader, that there's something that happens in the currency world, the foreign exchange trading world, that doesn't really happen so much in the stock trading world. And it's called the concept of market testing. So please write in your notes, market testing, underline, market testing. What is market testing? This is one of the biggest secrets in the currency world that the average guy on the street is just unaware of, for good reason. Now, what is it? Well, as the market goes through here, something happens which causes the market to fall, And stock traders, i.e. people who have been trading stocks, find this phenomenon completely freaking scary. Because they're like, what the hell is happening? They're in the trade, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they've gotten into the trade, the market starts to push against them, and they don't understand why. What's happening here is the currency market, 85% of which is controlled by the large institutional interbanks. All they're doing is they are market testing. Now, what does market testing mean? Well, market testing means as soon as the market's gone through one of these key pivot levels, the big guys, the big market makers, want to test to see if this level is now strong enough to support the price continuing to move upwards. Does that make sense? Yes or no? And the only way you can test that, of course, is to sell it, to let it come off a little bit, to test back and push and test and see if the market will hold that level. Because the market makers, they're the big guys, and the interbank and the institutions and the prop traders, these are the guys, remember this is a $4 trillion market a day. They want to know there's enough buying pressure behind it to continue the propulsion of the market upwards. Do I make sense, folks? Yes or no? Good. So when this thing happens here, and your trade that you've lovingly placed on at $50 per pip or whatever, starts to pull back, and you see you've gone into profit a little bit, and then the market starts to, what do you think, how do you think people feel? Do you think they feel a little bit freaked out, yes or no? Yes, they do. And it's the freaking out which kind of pushes them out of the trade. So I'm going to show you that as we go on, but I want you to be aware of it. It's called market testing, and it causes a bit of a pullback. Now, with trading and anything else in life, please write this down. Anticipation is the mother of all skill. Anticipation is the mother of all skill. In other words, if you know what's coming, or you've got a good understanding, a good prevision of what's likely to happen, you can anticipate it, you know how to react to it when it comes. If you don't know what's coming, if you have zero anticipation, just blind faith, then what generally would happen is you're going to react in an emotional state which is probably not going to serve the outcome. Does that make sense to everybody, yes or no? But if you can anticipate what's coming, you can relax and do what you need to do in order to get to where you need to go. Can we jump back to the video we paused, and then we'll carry on, please? Thanks.
Expected to pull a little bit back off that level, bounce, and then continue moving. Notice here as I extend out the line here, we've got the trade registered here. Current price 61.70. P&L is 2,000, now 3,000. So this is going to move around. It's the deal price on the trade, as we can certainly see here, was 61.68. And the trade is steadily moving along, and all we're looking really now to do is pull 20 points. Now the way we'll do this trade is on this platform I'll hit close deal in a second, which will then bring up the trade ticket. It's a lumpy trade, 1,000 British pounds a point. So that means that we need to make sure that the brokers are aware that I'm trying to exit the trade. So I'll hit close deal, and it will allow me to bring up the deal ticket. And then I'll literally just hit close, or I'll hit obviously buy to close, sell to close my long position. So we can see this is that pullback I was talking about. It's coming back a little bit.
Okay, so it's pulling back. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes or no? Hello? Yeah. So now we've been up to £4,000 or £5,000. Now £4,000 or £5,000 is like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for a few. I mean, how many people would be quite happy just to have taken the $7,000 or $8,000, $9,000 and gone off and done something else for the day? Yes or no? Yes? Come on, I mean, for 30 seconds, $9,000 for 30 seconds, that's not a bad day's work. Would you guys agree with that? Yes or no? However, now it's all gone. There's nothing. Now, I don't care how long I've been trading. Do you guys know the concept of a tell? You know, when someone says, oh, I don't know, they've got a tell. You can tell that there's a flinch, or they maybe do something with their ear, or they say something, and that's a tell that they have. Do you all understand what I mean by that when someone says they've got a tell? Yes or no? So I know my own personal nervous tell is when I go, I just have that. For some reason, I go, that's my nervous tell. And the reason I say it is just because I've played this video back a little bit, and I notice my own nervous tell on this video as this is now bottoming out. Because, of course, if this trade wasn't going to work out, now would be the time where it would not work out, and I'd have to pull the trade off the table. Does that make sense? So I'm obviously, in this moment, I want it to do what I hope it's going to do, which is bounce back here, test, and then run forward. But let's listen to see if we can hear my tell if we now continue playing the video and see what happens.
Now just testing that level, what I was expected to do would be bounce and immediately now start to move back upwards, and that would be my expectation. So again, I'm up a point, 1,000, so it's not a lot right now, but I expect this bounce, and it's now starting to bounce upwards, so back to 3,000, 4,000. And really now just waiting to close the deal. When we get over the 20-point mark, where I should be able to see about £20,000 of profit, I'm literally going to start to hit the close deal button and pull this trade off the table.
I'd expect the run around now, given that it's broken now, clearly gone through that level. Here we can see it's 12,013. Here we are. We're up to the 21,000 mark. So I now want to exit this trade. So I'll be now moving my mouse. See if it can hold this level. Let's move. Let's close the deal here now, and see if we can lock that 20 points. So it's holding 22,000. Not going to move any more. Let's click the close deal, and let's get this trade priced up. I'm waiting for the broker now to pull my price. So you can see the price has moved around, and here I go, and it's going to hit sell at 20 points is what I'm after, which is around this level here, and we'll take the trade just about here. Let's tick it up to 20. See if we can capture 20. There it is. Okay. Oh, we got 19. Okay, that's close enough. So there we are. That's how you make £19,000 in about 3 or 4 minutes.
That's it. I say make £19,000 in 3 or 4 minutes. Good trade, folks. Yes or no?
See if we can do another one.
Thank you. Now, if we go back to PowerPoint, that'd be really cool. Okay, so now, of course, many of you won't start out with a trading account where you can do £1,000 a point. However, if you're making £200 or £2,000 in the same period of time, is that still a good start, folks? Yes or no? That's still not a bad way to go. The key here is, as we drew up here, it starts with a bit of belief. You've got to take a little bit of action, then we've got to use some of the money, and then we've got to get some results. And the fastest way to do that, please write this down, the fastest way, if you know right now you're not doing this in current market conditions, you are missing out on the biggest boatload of money that's ever come to town. Ever come to town. Now, the reason you're not doing this is because the belief is low, because you think there may be more money to lose in doing this. The quickest way to shift from one set of beliefs, i.e., yeah, I think I could do it, maybe I could be able to actually doing it and knowing you can do it, is by changing the time you spend with the right people. So shifting some people into your life who do this is the quickest way to get there. Certainly I found that.